Welcome, class, to today's lesson. Today's lesson's on angle measure in degrees, minutes, and seconds. And let me just explain. When we measure angles in class, a lot of times we round to the nearest degree 61 degrees, 62 degrees, 63 degrees. But people like captains of ships or airplane pilots, they can't use degrees like longitude and latitude and just say, I'm going to make a 30 degrees turn, or I need to go to 30 degrees, 90 degrees north. They have to be very specific. So there is a thing called degrees and minutes and seconds, which allow pilots to be very specific on where they're going. So let's talk about this. One complete revolution contains 360 equal parts. Each part is called a degree. So it comes from a circle. It's 360 degrees. Out of each degree, it's divided into 60 equal parts, and each part is called a minute. So for example, instead of saying 60 degrees and a half, that's what we would do, like 60.5. They don't use decimals. They would say, since there's 60 degrees in a minute, and if we were talking about a half a minute, it would be 60 degrees, 30 minutes. Okay? And then it goes even smaller, and that's each minute's divided into 60 equal parts called a second. And we're not even probably going to do a lot of math using minutes. We're just going to break it down to degrees and minutes. I'm sorry, we're not going to use seconds too often. So for example, we would probably say this is 43 degrees, right? If this was a protractor, 43 degrees and a half. Okay, so we would do 43.5. A pilot or a navigator of a boat would say 43 degrees, 30 minutes, and then they would even break that down further into seconds, which we can't see. They would have much more computer scientific help. Okay, so what do we need to do with it? We need to be able to do the math. And if you leave this video and don't have a complete understanding of how to do it, don't worry. We're going to go over it in class, and then I'm also going to teach you a shortcut at the very end. But I want you to get the concept. This is how it's written: 32 degrees, 16 minutes, 23 seconds. So if we said 32 minutes, if we said 32 degrees and 30 minutes make half of an angle, this is a little less than 32 and a half degrees. This is 40, and then we're adding it to 46 degrees, 30 minutes. So 32 minutes. So if 30 degrees is a half a minute, this is really almost 46. It's a little over 46 and a half minutes. So addition of angles, extremely easy. You just add the columns. 23 plus 19, 16 plus 32. So 23 plus 19 is 42. 16 plus 32 is 48, and 32 plus 46 is 78. Here's the thing. As long as these minutes or seconds don't go over 60, we don't have to do anything. But if they do, we have to give to the next column. For example, if I said I went for a run and it took me, you wouldn't tell somebody, oh, it took me 120 minutes. That's not really how we talk. What do we say? We say, instead of 120 minutes, we say 2 hours. So it's the same concept. If this seconds was over 60, like 70 seconds, really it's 1 minute and 10 seconds. So let's look at our next example. Right away, if we add the third column, 36 plus 39, we get 75. You can't have 75 seconds. We can't be over 60. So how much are we over 60? Hopefully you answered 15. So if we are over 15, we leave the 15 and we give an entire minute to the next column. So 75 seconds is 1 minute, 15 seconds. Now you just add this column. So 47 plus 1 is 48, plus 23 is 71. Is 71 more than 60? Yes. How much more is it than 60? Hopefully you said 11. 11 goes here, but then we've got to give a whole minute up here. So now This column is in degrees, so it's 45 plus 1 is 46 plus 16 is 61. This column can be over as high as 360 because that's the degrees we're adding. So this one would be 61 degrees, 11 minutes, 15 seconds. That's adding. When we subtract, the only thing you have to make sure is that the bigger number is on top that you can take away. So for example, can I take 36 minus 24? Yes. Can I take 45 minus 34? Yes. Can I take 45 minus 32? Yes. Subtract them. 38 minus 24 is 14. 45 minus 32, 13. So that's our final answer. Very simple. The problem is if we come to a problem like this. For example, can you take 28 minus 42? No, you would get negative, so we can't do that. So what we do is we borrow. Instead of this being 16, we take an entire minute from it. So now it's 15. And if it's 15, I'm going to put a slash to it. So it's 15. And if it's 15, sorry, I just wanted to make sure it was still recording. So I have to borrow an entire minute, and I have to make this 15. And if I borrow the minute, I now have 60 extra seconds, right? Just like the clock. If I took it a minute away, it's 60 seconds. So this now becomes 88 seconds. I borrowed an entire minute. So it's 88 minus 42, okay, which is 46. But now here's the problem. I can't take 15 minus 47. So I have to borrow an entire degree. So if I borrow a degree, I'm borrowing one, so I'm taking away. It's now 58, which now makes this not 15, but 60 plus 15, because I'm taking the entire degrees, which is 60. So this is getting crossed out too. So now my final math problem would be 88 minus 42, 75 minus 47, and 58 minus 29. And my final answer would just be 46, 28, 29. And this is read as 29 degrees, 28 minutes, 46 seconds. And listen, I know if this was complicated, you might say, I have no clue what she's talking about. It's okay. We're going to talk about it more in depth together, but I just want you to get a sense of what I'm doing. Multiplication. Extremely simple. Multiply the numbers. If we multiply them, as long as this is not over 60, this is not over 60, or this is not over 60, doesn't matter if this is over 60. So 2 times 16 only gave us 32. 2 times 12 only gave us 24. So we don't have to do anything. I just 2 times 35, 70, 2 times 16, 2 times 12. When I do this one, it's 3 times 42, 3 times 45, 3 times 36. And when I do that, I get this. And that's how you should do it. You should just multiply everything first. Now when I go to the smallest column, here's the problem. Is 126 over 60? Yes. So we've got to decide, we need, instead of saying 126 minutes, we would say that is technically what? And hopefully if you can do the math, it's 2 hours, 120, and 6 minutes. So if we do it in seconds, it's 6 seconds and 2 minutes. So I'm going to add 2 full minutes to this. So this is where I'm going to get 108, 137.06. So we're done with this column. But now I look at this column. Is it larger than 60? Yes. How much larger? Well, I can pull 2 60s out of that, which is 120. So if I take 137 minus 120, I now get 17. But because I took 2 away, I have to add 2 to the multiplication. So I get 110. Final answer. Division, little complicated. If it just divides, 2 divided by 2 goes into 48 how many times? 24. 2 goes into 56 28 times. 2 goes into 36 18 times. Done. This isn't bigger than 60. This isn't bigger than 60. We didn't have to borrow or give anything away. Extremely easy. Here's the problem. If I take 2 into 59, you'll see it only goes 29 times, correct? Because 29 times 2 is 58. That's 1 extra degree. Well, 1 extra degree is 60 minutes. So instead of 2 going into 27, I have to give the extra degree. So instead of 27, it's 87 because it took the 1. So I'm going to delete the 1. So now that this is 87, 2 goes into 87 how many times? 43 times. But when I multiply 43 times this, it's still only 86. And that leaves me 1 second. So if I have, 1 minute. And if I have an extra minute, I'm going to give the 60 seconds to this. So instead of 42, it's now 102. And 2 goes into, it doesn't matter. I was just going to delete this one too instead. 2 goes into 102 51 times. Neither of these are over 60. It's fine. That's our final answer. Understood division is also complicated. Please don't get discouraged or upset. We will go over it. I'll show you how to do it even easier later. I just want you to see the math. So what are we talking about? Here we go. ADC is 87 degrees 16 minutes. 16 minutes. Yes. I'm not even going to deal with seconds, so we're not going down to the seconds. So we're just saying this is 87 and 16, which is a little less than 87 and a half degrees. I tell you that ADB is a smaller angle. It's 30 degrees, 12 minutes. So it's less than 30 and a half. I want you to find this one. So are we doing an addition problem or a subtraction problem? I give you the large angle and a piece of this. So hopefully you know it's subtraction. So I set up my subtraction. 87, 16 minus 30, 12. Can I take 16 minus 12? Yes. Can I take 87 minus 30? Yes. Final answer, 57:04. 57 degrees, 04 minutes. That's it. These are the type of problems we'll be doing, and I will make them even easier. Last problem. BD bisects. Hopefully you remember what bisects means. ADC. So if ADC, the big angle, is 49 degrees and 12 minutes, find BDC, which is here. So first thing I would do, if I know these are bisected, I would put angle symbols, and maybe, so that shows me those two angles I know are congruent. And if something is bisected and these are congruent, all I need to do is take 49/12 and divide it by 2. So I set up a division problem. 49, I realize that's a square root. I mean division. So 2 goes into 49, only 48 degrees. So 24 times. Right? So it only goes in there 24 times, which leaves us with 48. When I subtract these, I have an entire degree. So I'm going to take 60 seconds and move it over here. So when I take the 60, it's 60 times 12, which is now 72. And 2 goes into 72 36 times. So my final answer would be 24 degrees 36 seconds. So it's just dividing. Hopefully you're picking it up a little bit. If not, it's okay. We will talk about this when you're done. Thanks for listening. Talk to you guys later.